Welcome back everyone. Today we're going to be looking at step 6 on how to lose weight compassionately, and that is to use fasting. And the reason I decided to look into this is because one of the viewers asked me to research it and suggest what is the best fasting method. So I've looked at the literature, and to be honest, there's still a lot of research that needs to be done. However, from all the options that are available, I have chosen the ones that appear to be a little bit more compassionate. So let's have a look at them. So we have alternate day fasting. So basically what you do is you don't eat for a day, or you eat 25% of the calories. And on the other day, you just eat as much as you like. On the other one is time restricted feeding. Now for me, this is the one that I would recommend for you to do. And basically what that is that you eat within a period of time. And you can eat as much as you like, and you do it every day. Both have shown to lose weight. So the alternate day fasting, usually you lose about 4 to 6%. And the time restricted feeding is about 3 to 4% over a period of 3 to 4 months. Usually to see an effect in your health, what the literature shows is that you need to have a drop of 5%. So potentially if you extend the length by which you do fasting, you should be able to reach that target. Also take into consideration that if you're doing all the steps that I've said before, all the other 5 steps, you should be losing a little bit more weight. It will all add up together. So let's have a look. This one here is basically what's used currently, and it's called very low caloric diet, and that involves reducing your caloric intake by 20 to 50%. As we can see by the profile of the population at the moment, 2/3 of the population is overweight and 1/4 of it is obese. So this system where you're reducing the calories is not working. People are regaining the weight, and usually to a greater extent than they did originally. So there's no weight, there's weight regain here. So let's do tick tick. The compliance, it's very hard to comply because you're constantly hungry, you're never eating enough. So no, you can't comply very easily. Some people have amazing willpower and they will do it for a long period of time. But over a 10-year period, almost everyone will put their weight back on and usually go a little bit more. The reason that happens is because your metabolism goes down and you feel very hungry also. The problem is that once you regain the weight, your metabolism still stays low, and then it makes it even harder to lose weight. So you are very hungry doing this method, doing the very low caloric diet. There is a 25% chance that you'll get gallstones, so 25%, and definitely because you're so hungry, you're going to binge eat, most likely. You lose a little bit of protein as well with this diet. Now let's compare that to the alternate day fasting. So it's a bit easier to comply because already one day you can eat as much as you like. And so I'll just put one cross, and also you're eating a little bit in the day that you're fasting. So you're still going to feel hungry, but you won't feel as hungry. There is no information as to whether binge eating occurs, and that's because there's not enough research. It hasn't been around long enough for linkages to be made between alternate day fasting and binge eating or gallstones. So there may not be a link, but at the moment it's unknown. Fat-free mass, well, alternate day fasting is better than the very low caloric diet. You don't lose as much muscle, you still lose a little bit. So we'll put 2 here and 1 for this one. And weight regain, well, most studies are 12 to 16 weeks in length, and none that I could find, or there's a very limited number of studies that extend over a period of 5 to 10 years, where you can really see if people have been able to maintain their weight after they have lost it. So we really need longitudinal studies. So we'll put a question mark here, and this will come with time as it gets applied more into as a conventional mode of treatment for weight loss. Finally, the one that I like the most and that's the most compassionate is time-restricted feeding. So it can be from 12 hours or less. So if you decide to start doing it, just go for 12 hours. Eat all your meals within 12 hours. So if you have your breakfast at 8, then your last meal should not be later than 8 p.m. And you can shift that to whatever time suits you. So with time-restricted feeding, you're going to have a more normal lifestyle. With alternate day fasting, if your friends invite you out for lunch, you're going to have to say no or go there and watch them eat. So it's going to affect your life. Or with time-restricted feeding, you can eat as much as you like, as long as you eat it within the time frame. And the research shows that by doing this, you actually, on average, or can restrict the intake of calories by up to 20%. So compliance, this is going to be easier to comply. So, and I mean, potentially you could be a little bit hungry before you go to bed, but most of your fasting is going to be while you sleep. So there's not going to be as much hunger. There might be a little bit of hunger if you don't eat straight away after you get up, or in the evening if you stay up a bit after you've had your last meal. So compliance is going to be most likely a lot better. Fat-free mass, this looks to be also better than compared to the very low caloric diet. And there was a study actually where they looked at athletes, male athletes, and they got them to do an 8-hour time-restricted feeding, and they also did resistance training, and they found that the muscle mass stayed the same. So that's quite promising in terms of muscle mass. Binge eating, well, there's no information about this. However, it's probably unlikely because you got quite a generous amount of hours in which you can eat, and you can eat as much as you like and whatever you want to eat. Gallstones, well, there's no information about that. There's no linkage. So hunger, well, maybe a little bit of hunger during the fasting time of the night. And weight regain, it's probably the better of this. There is some evidence for up to a year. So in a study where there was a 4% weight loss, after a year they have not regained the weight. However, that's as far as it goes. It'd be interesting to see after 5 and 10 years whether they have regained the weight. So more research needed. Okay, so of course, if you're gonna take on any of these dieting regimes, I would recommend that you speak to your general practitioner, particularly if you've got a metabolic condition such as diabetes, to ensure that they're happy with you proceeding with it. Anyway, apart from that, I hope to see you next week, and have a great week.